Welcome or welcome back. This is Freestyled Knitting. I'm Jennifer, and this is a knitting podcast all about knitting, yarn adventures, and travel. Thank you very much for joining me today. So excited that you're here. Today is a very heavy spinning episode. If you are not a spinner and not interested in spinning, that's okay. You can check out any of my other videos that are very knit friendly. This one is going to be very fiber heavy focused and spinning. So get comfy, get cozy, and we will get right in. I have just returned from the Ontario Spinning Seminar. This is a weekend-long seminar that occurs in Ontario, and if not the biggest in Ontario, the biggest in Canada, is definitely the biggest in Ontario that happens, where all of the fiber folk meet up, spinners from all over the place, within Ontario and beyond, the US as well, and we all come together and spin up all kinds of fun things with our fiber. I attended my first seminar last year. It was very much new to me. I inherited a drop spindle the day of the first day of the seminar last year and had no clue what I was doing, but had a lot of help from the lovely people around me that are willing to give their time and patience to help a newbie out. And the drop spindle at the time didn't resonate with me. It wasn't something that I found myself gravitating within the year to go back to constantly. I was using my free time for knitting, which was, is my number one passion. Spinning didn't work for me with the drop spindle for a few reasons. One, I didn't understand technique and strategy. Two, because I wasn't able to produce a great yarn, I didn't want to knit with it. And three, it's the quantity of yarn. With the drop spindle, obviously you can't make a lot, and I'm a garment knitter and wearer. So this didn't hit my heart. This year, 2 weeks before the seminar started, I inherited a wheel. I will throw in pictures of the wheel that I started spinning on 2 weeks before it came. Before the seminar, I had spun up 2 balls of yarn to just get me started and kind of doggy paddle towards the other side a bit, so that I was ready to dive off the diving board at the seminar. And I toted it all the way from Toronto to the seminar, which was held in Waterloo at the Laurier University campus. And we learned how to spin this year. I have to say, it totally tickled my fiber fancy. I have already gotten down and dirty with some fiber and spinning, even being home for a short period of time. So I'm thrilled to be sharing all things spinning. I'd have to say, if you are a spinner, obviously I'm going to be sharing things you probably already know, maybe some new things. If you're not a spinner and a knitter, but you're interested in hearing about this fiber adventure, stay tuned, because I also wasn't totally sold in spinning, and now we're sold. We may be very sold. So let's get talking about a wheel. The fact that I inherited a wheel, I think, is a game changer because the techniques are different, strategies are different that I'm using and have been taught. I'm able to create with that better yarn, better looking yarn that I'm excited to knit with. And I think I will continue to grow and improve. And eventually, with that improvement and growth and confidence and skills, we'll be able to create yarn that I'm going to be using for my knitting projects and possibly for a garment, because it will be more efficient to create. So it's hitting all of those really positive pieces for me to get into my fiber journey. I think what I'm going to start with as well is what I did. So first things first, I had knit with my Handspun. This is a very, we'll say, rustic to explain the quality of this micro shawl. This was my very first hand spun yarn ever. I spun this up from fiber that I had from last year's conference. I think it might be Twin Oaks Farm from Laura Sharp. I don't have the information because, you know, I wasn't there. I don't have a spinning journal at this point, only a knitting one. So what I did, this is before I knew many things, anything really, is it is a 2-ply, which means that I've spun 2 yarns separately in one direction and I plied in the opposite direction to get this yarn. If I had to explain this yarn with being, you know, a super novice, this is worsted because the way that the fiber was prepared, it was a prepared roving. I just used my hand, this hand, to smooth the fiber down as it went into the orifice of the wheel. So we're learning so many things in fiber world with spinning. And I didn't know what to do with the ball of yarn. It wasn't pretty. I'll again include some photos. And so I didn't know what to make with it. I cast on a couple things. I wasn't happy and decided to dabble. So I found this very cute, very simple micro shawl design pattern from Indie Bloom. I'll include the pattern link below. It's a free pattern if you sign up for the email newsletter, which I did. And yeah, downloaded the pattern and knit this in like a day. It obviously didn't take long because it's a heavy gauge, doesn't match the gauge of the pattern. And that was it. She was the first hand spun that I put into a project and technically wore. I was nicely bullied into putting this into the competition at the spinning event, the seminar. There's lots of different activities and events that happen over the weekend. And so when I first arrived, I went to the awards, or like competition display of hand spun yarns and finished objects. And there were beautiful things there. And they said, Jennifer, you have to put this in. This is your first piece ever. Throw it into the pot. And so I did, because I'm like, whatever, you know what? We're giving everything a go. We are taking a risk. And quite frankly, what's the worst that could happen? Yeah, it's a little embarrassing, but we're fine. You know what? Who cares? There's worse things in life. And so I put the micro shawl into the mix of voting for whatever category. I think it was like first, you know, novice spinner projects. Didn't think twice about it. And yeah, that was kind of the debut of getting going into the fibery weekend. That first night there with my roommates that I had stayed with last year as well. This is friend and then her friends that I stayed with. We went out for dinner and super nice. We did it last year, came back, chatted over a glass of wine and got ready for our weekend of fibery adventures. The next morning I had, and I'm being open and honest with you, the food wasn't the best last year. And so I dawdled off to a coffee shop that was close by and had some breakfast there. I came back from breakfast. I attended the opening remarks of the kickoff to the weekend, and we got down and dirty right away into our yarny adventures, our spinning adventures. The first stop is a workshop. So the Saturday's really busy because you have your keynote speaker in the beginning, and then you have a workshop in the afternoon, morning, and then lunch, and then a workshop, and then there's a banquet with a keynote speaker as well. So it's jam-packed in the day. So in the morning, I attended my first workshop. This was called the Introduction to Art Yarn. Super fabulous looking, and really just the art yarn idea called to me aesthetically. This was presented by Marie-Pierre Chabot, and she was amazing at breaking down the spinning techniques in order to produce art yarns. I was so excited about this, a little nervous because new spinner, but I thought with art yarn, I can hide the fact that I'm crazy brand new and making like scary bits of yarn, which, you know, that happens. We're talking like thick and thin, we're talking breakage, we're talking like loosely spun versus too much spun with twists and pigtails. Like, we're all over the board and figuring out how spinning life works. So art yarn was perfect. Marie-Pierre was great. She offered 3 sections of her workshop were divided into making specific or very different art yarns, different techniques. The first, and she was so generous in giving the attendees different fiber to work with. So technically you didn't have to bring your own fiber, which was phenomenal because I didn't really have a lot. I brought some emergency. So I had spun up this. I'll show you what I spun it from first. This, and I don't know the names of any of the techniques. This is an art yarn that I spun up using 1 strand of a prepared roving that was hand dyed, I believe, by Marie-Pierre, and I think she sells these on her website as well. And you twist all, of course, in one direction, but what you're doing is instead of feeding and trying with the objective of keeping the fiber uniform to spin uniform, you want to go thick thin. So you're putting in sometimes chunks of fiber to get more, obviously, quantity of yarn, of fluff onto your strand, or less to make it thinner. So you're getting very irregular quantities of fiber through your orifice to create basically wonky yarn. When you ply, she had this option is plied with 1 strand of mohair. And that's all it is. So I feel like with this, I was so excited and impressed I was able to make a thing. You'll obviously see that some parts are very underspun, and this is kind of my my journey that I'm en route with. So she had gifted us a heap of mohair to use for this and bring home. And then there was a roving. So the roving, it was a braid actually that she had prepared for us, and was just so generous of her. And the color gravitated towards me, or I gravitated towards the color so much because it has these really beautiful blips of like coral and apricot and pinks in it that I feel like it's just happy. And it's so funny because I feel every spinner that was there in this workshop in particular, when we were picking out our colors of fiber and braids, they were picking something that the colors were the color family of what they were wearing. And this was very much what I was wearing. I was wearing bright colors. I had my orange pants on. So this was it. So that was the first go at art yarn. And I was feeling pretty good. I was like, this is awesome. The ladies on either side of me, very experienced spinners, they were complaining that their yarn was being produced, it was too uniform. They couldn't get the thick thins. And I was like, ladies, I've got you covered. Like, look at this. So it's kind of funny that they had to unlearn that, I think, technique of creating beautiful uniform yarn, whereas I don't have that muscle memory at all or know how. So I was able to create some really crazy stuff. So that was the first one, and was feeling pretty good. I was thinking, okay, this spinning seminar, this was a kickoff, like huzzah. So that was the first one. The second one that we did was a 3 strands almost of I'll call it fiber, or it's a 3-ply technically. So it's 3 strands together, and it looks quite complicated. And when you break it down, it's really not. So what it is it's 1 strand of the, it's not a braid actually. We got loose fiber, and I'll show it to you in a second. Stunning. That you spin up with, the idea is that the mohair acts as a core. So I'll show you the fiber. So it's like this bat, I think they call it. And it was presented obviously much nicer because I've already ripped it apart and it's traveled all this way. So it's, again, these like very happy sunny colors. It's almost like this, but like a kick up of the saturated colors of like oranges, golds, there's pinks in there. It's just a delight with some sparkle or stellina, and I love it. Very different to work off of than the braid, the fiber braid. And so because it's so fluffy, The core of the mohair is light, but it also acts as that strength to give it some backbone, if you will, of creating a one ply. From the one ply with the core, and you can see like my white mohair sticking out, so it's not exactly embedded in my core. The objective is that you're holding the mohair in one hand and you're feeding the fiber almost around or over the mohair. So we had some success, but again, the championness of thick, thin, and extra fluffy under twist, over twist, we were definitely there. We were like killing it in the crazy department of creating yarn. And then you ply it with a thread. So this was, I think, just like the fuchsia, a contrasting color I thought was cool. And it allows for you to ply it with something. The story is with this, because there's a million stories that come out of your weekend. I was like halfway through doing the first ply strand of this yarn and feeling really wicked and good and so loving the process of the making and talking to the ladies and everything. And all of a sudden my pedal, as I'm pedaling and it's one treadle, just went and it just fell. I didn't understand what was happening. I look, because again, everything's new for me. So there's something called the leather that attaches between the pedal and the wheel. There's like a pendulum piece from the wheel, and it's a rubber, I think. The rubber had, I guess, dried out or disintegrated over time and cracked and broke off. And so the pedal fully just fell to the ground and the wheel immediately, unuseful. You can't use it because you have nothing to propel the wheel in one direction. So I thought, okay, that's too bad, but I'll figure it out when I get home. I had brought a drop spindle in case, and I thought I could do it. I'll figure it out. I wasn't gutted. But this story, I feel, represents the weekend and these humans so well. So two seats over to me was Dorothy the Dynamo MacGyver. So she comes over because now there's a bit of commotion, right? This is drama that's happened on the side of the workshop. My pedals fall into the ground. The wheel is no longer in motion. What are we going to do? And so Dorothy comes over, who, she's not a spring chicken. She's a little more senior than I am, but huge amounts of wisdom and gumption. And she gets right down on her hands and her knees. I said, Dorothy, what are you doing? Like, we're fine. She's like, oh, I want to see if I can fix it. Let's see what's going on. I said, you don't have to do that. That's so nice and so generous of you, but I've got a drop spindle. I'll figure it out. She's like, you can't have this happen at the beginning of the day. It's a spinning weekend. So she brings over this little baggie with all these little tools and bits and bobs and things, and she starts going to town and trying to get the rubber piece or the leather out from the hole to create like an actual hole again. I had all the feelings. I said, please, like, don't worry. I don't want to inconvenience her. I didn't want to take her experience away from the workshop. And she insisted. She felt very motivated and she has a lot of drive that she just went to town. I don't know if I didn't time it, but she was working on the wheel for quite some time, trying to get things sorted out. As we're chatting, turns out she lives on a farm. Many do that were there, and are shepherdesses, and they tend to animals. They work on a farm. They have to, use the things that they have around them and be very resourceful and problem solvers to overcome what happens and what breaks and press on. And so Dorothy just went for it. She used her little tools and little bits and bobs, and with literally some cotton string, she rigged up the pedal back to the pendulum, so I was able to use the spinning wheel not only for the rest of the conference, I've also used it at home, and it's still going. It's insane. I'm so thankful to her. I think, again, such a representation of the people that I was lucky enough to meet and to spend time with over the weekend. So she fixed my wheel. There we are. Okay, so we made this beautiful art yarn and finished it. All thank you to Dorothy. I took a little picture and I hope it's okay that I'm plopping it up here because we just love this. We love it. There was a third kind of yarn that was made by some of the people, but because of my whole wheel situation, I didn't get to making the third kind, and it was like just a much more slippy type yarn. It almost looked like cocoons that were off of a string. It was cool, but I think it would have taken too much technique anyway for me to do. So all in all, I was very happy with what I produced and what I learned in the workshop. It was awesome. I then went home and felt very inspired, of course, on all the things I learned. So not to waste any, memory, I wanted to make sure that my hands knew and had more practice at producing this art yarn. So I came home using the braid. I did another little art yarn option. So again, we're talking 1 ply with the braid and then 1 ply of the mohair. And when you're feeding this, the fluffy or the woolly part of your ply onto the mohair, it's just that you're tugging almost or feeding with more tension the mohair, and you're adding on, if that makes sense, the fiber, the spun fiber of your wool onto the mohair, which is why you get, I didn't do it perfectly every time, of course, but I think like a good example maybe is like this kind of, is you're able to see how the yarn is like the woolly bits are like coiled around. Oh, this one's a good one too. Coiled around the mohair, if that makes sense. Anyway, it's just so fun. Again, there's a lot of like not spun enough, not enough twist in this. So we're learning. But again, such a good time. And I was loving that I was able to do this as well when I got home, because I wanted to do everything. So we did. So that was the art yarn workshop. Believe it or not, that was just half of the day. We weren't even done. So then we had lunch and I sat with a whole bunch of new fiber folks, which was great. I didn't even share the Friday. There was a marketplace. I attended the marketplace. I'll share what I got at the marketplace after. I feel like a quick and dirty at the marketplace, which was lovely. And Marg, who joins us here often from Ontario, she was at the seminar all weekend and she saw me in real person. I saw her in real person. It was lovely. So hi, Marg. It was a fun surprise, as it is in Fiber World. So it was so nice that she said hello. It was awesome. Then I want to talk about my second workshop I attended. Second workshop was an introduction to spinning. It was called Starting Your Spinning Adventure. This was by Barb Fawcett. But then we also had a bonus instructor, which was great. Donna Hancock from Wellington Fibers. It was amazing to have 2 different gurus of spinning world with us and to help share their expertise and techniques. This was really essential, I think, to me to get into spinning world, especially with a wheel, to understand the difference of prepping fiber and techniques and tricks in what I'm doing to produce beautiful yarns, or I'm going to say beautiful because I feel like my yarn production is so much more beautiful than it was. And the differences even of like worsted and woolen yet again. Because again, I think I had an understanding from my yarny adventures and knitting and meeting up with different people in fiber world and mills. But then now actually producing yarn from my hands, it's a whole other level of understanding. Now I'm understanding why some knitters that do talk about spinning have that passion and for sharing that spinning has really changed their mindset and understanding of knitting in general and yarn, because you are being ever more mindful of what you're producing to get a product at the end. And it's amazing. Okay. So let's bring, can I, I'm trying to think. Yes, I just have to get up to get some of the stuff I need to show you. Okay, hold on. One is like literally on the wheel. I have to get off. It's just gonna take a second. All right. Gosh, there's just so much stuff. Okay. So I literally just pulled this bobbin off of my spinning wheel to show you. So I'm gonna do like kind of a before and after, if I may. This, do I have? Kind of. Okay. So this isn't a ball, but hopefully you can kind of see. I'm trying to see if I have, oh, I do. All right. This is a very small amount, but this was my first spin. So this is the same yarn. And I'm going to try to show you what I had spun up before my conference. So I'm just going to take some of it out so you can see. So we've got a variety of like, this is 2-ply again, like thick thins, underspun, overspun. So like high twist, low twist. We've got a lot of variation going on. Hence, the art yarn was my jam. So this is my first yarn ever without really understanding anything. In hearing the breakdown and like super effective communication from Donna and from Barb, this is my newest spin that I have. We have a woolen spun, somewhat woolen prepped yarn that is light, airy, and way more uniform and thinner, or like, the gauge very much more tiny than before. It is shocking to me the difference one workshop made. It's mind-blowing to me. In this, there was a lot of discussion and instruction around fiber prep. I'm talking about this. And again, if you're still here, you're interested in the spinning bit. So the ladies had given us, which was so lovely, 2 different bats of woolen prepped fiber. And then they gave us 2 bats, and one is here, of worsted prepped. Worsted prepped is basically the fibers are all aligned, if that makes sense. Woolen, they're not. So these have been, I say roughed up in my world. I'm already coming up with my own terms. But basically the fibers have been fluffed up, played with, carded to get them fluffier. They're literally fluffy. They're clouds. You're making clouds. These are not clouds. These are more compact. It can be the same breeds of animal, of sheep, but the way that they're prepped are different, and they have not been roughed up. So they have all been, you're looking at the fiber that's parallel to each other. It's linear. What they were sharing is, and this, again, everything was mind-blowing to me, is that the prep makes all the difference in what you're going to spin. You spin from worsted prep, there's your worsted wool. You're spinning from woolen prep, you're spinning woolen. But that wasn't even true. It got more complicated in the way you spin. So essentially, and this is, I don't know how to show you, but when you have your yarn, this is terrible. Like, what are we doing? If you have your yarn or your fiber and you're literally smoothing it, I don't know how to show it. You're smoothing it with your middle finger and thumb as you're going into the orifice and constantly basically having contact to the fiber, that's worsted. But with woolen, you are making less contact. You're doing a pinch and letting go, a pinch and letting go. So it's allowing for those fibers in between the pinching to not be like pushed down, those scales pushed down. Everything made sense to me that was A, being shown to me, and B, communicated. I feel in teaching world, in any world that we're in, where we're learning and growing anything, people may be excellent at what they do. Very little groups of people, very little of the population can be good at what they do and then communicate it well. The effectiveness of communication can be really lacking. So people breaking what they do down in order to be successful can be almost impossible, and or even breaking it down and then communicating it adds a whole other level of complexity for people. These women, they were amazing because they not only are fab, obviously what they do, they're breaking it down step by step. They're explaining it so effectively to us and so simply, and then also sharing why it would be done this way or what wouldn't be done this way and what those different things would mean. Anyway, just mind blowing. So what I've done with my green, which was originally a woolen prep, worsted prep, is I was kind of cheating to make it woolen. I was taking the the roving, and I was tugging on it wherever it would break and roughing it up, like separating it out. Technically, if you separate it out while it's still parallel, I'm doing a very quick job. Technically, that is still worsted. But when you start to muck it all up together to basically create a cloud of fiber, then it starts to become more woolen. I found spinning woolen to be very satisfying, much easier to do in my opinion. The fluff acted as a break for me. Instead of having the fibers all lined up and then it gets sucked into the orifice and then it gets stressful and your wheel's getting away from you, the break of the fluff allows for the twist to come to basically the fluff. So even if you're not, making that last pinch where you want the twist to be, it's going to end pretty much at the fluff. And when you come back in, you just lightly twist. I mean, I'm not trying to teach you this stuff. I'm just trying to share the genius that I've learned over my workshop. And it made all the difference. I feel this is going to be my absolute best, most uniform spin yet. And I can't wait. Spinning has my heart. All right. Oh my goodness. So all of this fiber came from that workshop, from Barb and from Donna. And massive thank you to all of them. Okay, so now what I'm going to share is my things that I got at the market. And I'm also going to share a finished object other than this awesome micro shawl. I have to share one thing about my micro shawl. I'll do that after. So I made this. This was my second ball of yarn that I had done. I'm just going to get a hunk of that yarn to show you as well the growth that's already happened. So these were just ends that I had cut off from this. I'm going to share this in a second. And again, hello, this is the second thing of yarn I've ever done. Even this is perfect to show. So we have under twist, we have pretty thick gauge, to much better twist, ropey twist, and thinner gauge. So we're all over the board. This is all before the workshop. This is part of the 2-week chaos of spinning I had right before the workshop. But we're doing okay. I wasn't terribly sad with this. I cast on a few items and I decided to go with, as one should, with their second handspun ever, a Dickie. We made a Dickie. We have a Dickie to present. So super fun. I cast this on at the beginning of the conference or seminar, I should say, and I cast off in one of the like closing ceremonies, which is pretty cool, and woven in my ends. So it's literally, again, no pattern. Why would I need a pattern for this? I cast on, I don't know, 60 stitches, I think, 1 by 1 ribbing with my hand spun and split for a front and back of said Dickie. This is in a 100% merino that I bought from Romni before the closing here in Toronto on Queen West. And I'm happy with it. I mean, it's a silly knit. It's a Dickie. And she's going to get some wear. I think this is going to be like a cozy, perfect option to go against all of my very dark black, like woolen coats, my parka. And I like the fact that it like covers the front and the back. And it makes my handspun look like I meant to make all these silly little things happen in it, like these blips and bobs and thicks and thins and all the chaos. It's just really simple and really fun. I love that this has a story of the spinning seminar in it. You know, with every stitch, it has a memory. Really, really simple. And I cast off, of course, in my favorite, bind off in pattern. So knit over purl, purl over knit. Nothing more to say about the Dickie with my handspun, second handspun. So easy, so good. Okay, moving on. Can we just admire the fluff for a second? Can you? I don't know if you can see it. I've never seen a merino. You can't, this doesn't come up in camera. I've never seen a merino with the amount of like halo. It's definitely not coming up, but it's weird. It's heavy because it's a thick, many different gauges, but it's in general a thick gauge. I used a US 8 on that, or 5 millimeter needle. All right. I think we'll go back to this thing because, you know, I have to cover my t-shirt because I never wear a t-shirt and I feel a little on in t-shirts. We gotta zhuzh it up a bit with Me Made. So back to the shawl. I wore this in the fashion show. Yes, there's a fashion show at the banquet. So you have your dinner, have some wine. There's a fashion show. People can choose and opt to wear the thing that they've made to go into the awards, competition, knitting, and Fibersy Adventures, or someone else can model. And I thought I'd model. So we modeled and had a good time. I did not model last year. I was the quiet one on the side. And this year I was like, I'm going to be me. I'm going to do my silly thing. And I didn't. I had a blast. It was a great time. And we modeled. So we had a good time. The next day, going into closing ceremonies, they are announcing all the award winners. And I was chatted to by one of my roommates. So it wasn't my fault. I was listening to what she had to say during the award ceremony, trying to take pictures of some people. And my name got called. I didn't hear it. I caught the name Jennifer, and I heard, isn't Jennifer here? And I was like, I felt like I touched base almost with all the people at some point. And I was like, I don't think I met a Jennifer. And sure enough, lo and behold, it was me. And I got a text from one of the fiber friends that said, Jen, your name got called. It was way too late by the time I saw the message. So it was a little embarrassing. So I went up to the ladies after and accepted my award. I guess I'm just trying to be careful with my last name. I feel so lucky that I was able to get an award. And I feel like they were, first of all, I imagine this was the only entry in this exact category. Second of all, I think they were excited that, I'm somewhat younger in spinning community with a bit of a personality. So I think they're like, we're going to try to give her an award so she comes back again in another year. And it's working. So it is for, what does it say? It's a first prize in the accessory novice category with the use of handspun yarn. That's that. It was probably the only one. which I'm fine with because, you know, huzzah, we have an award. This is going to go on the wall. We're excited about it. And yes, I think this is really silly. But when I really think about it, it's like, I made this. I made the yarn. I made the thing. And I'm happy about it. So that's cool. That's cool. So I feel proud. I do feel proud. I do. Let's show you the fiber that I purchased. So I showed you the fiber that I got from all the workshops. And if that wasn't enough, the Friday, there's a marketplace with different vendors that come in, very, you know, local farm to fiber vendors, which is amazing. One is, what did I buy? Where's my big one? Here. I bought this. This is the second time that I purchased from this shepherdess, Big Noises, because this is how they come. So this is a prepared roving. I'll get out the ticket. Oh goodness, she doesn't have her name on here. It was Allison. Oh yes, she does, thank goodness. Pine Hollow. Oh gosh, it's hard to read and I don't have my glasses on. Pine Hollow something. I'll put it in the show notes so that she can get the credit. This was Allison, and this is a 70% oh gosh, new boule yarn, wool, sorry, and a 30% mohair. It's stunning. Oh, so it's Pine Hollow, but she included the names of the sheep on it. This is what I love about this community. So Dougal was one of the sheep and the other was Frankie. I do remember her saying that. So this is prepared roving that she had, and it comes in like a coil almost, kind of like a plate almost, like unspun plate, loose, with this fiber. And it's just stunning. So it's a combination of the two sheep and mohair. And it's, I mean, again, if we had Filo-Vision, you would be delighted. It's so soft and so glorious. I'm in love. I'm in love and I can't wait to spin with it. I think I'm going to hold on. I'm going to use kind of the yarns that I was given in the workshops to work with and play with to become more comfortable. And then this, I want to do my best work on this because it's so special and so gorgeous. So I have 100 grams of that to make yarn with. Sorry, Big Noises. I'm going to put this back in so I don't lose it. So that was what I consider my bigger purchase of fiber. A silly little purchase that I did was this guy. This is apparently a shop in Toronto. I've never heard of it though before, called the Olive Sparrow, in a neon yellow. Like, she's a good time in a prepared roving. One of the tips and tricks that was shared by Donna and Barb is that when you get stuff like this, fiber that comes compacted up in a bag, even before you prep it, leave it out of the bag for a day, like overnight, just hanging out, just so the fibers, can start to like relax a smidge because they're all like tightened up in here and suffocating. But the other great tip that they shared in leaving it out is that because it's sealed, it doesn't get anything from the air. So when you leave it out overnight, it starts to take in some moisture from the air. So it can even help in prepping your fiber and then spinning. And I'm sharing what my new besties, Donna and Barb, shared, is that prepping is everything. So, and I believe it. So that was one of my purchases from the market. My last purchase from the market was this. This is from Piper's Knits. This is, believe it or not, a superwash. I didn't really know that I was buying superwash at the time, but I'm fine with that. I've never spun with superwash. Who am I to say this is going to be whatever kind of experience? I'm so inexperienced. I think it'll be great. This is a merino superwash with a it's called Stellina, and it's a gold Stellina. And it's like, you can see she's a fun time. It was just, you know, this had my heart. So Piper's Knits was talking. He was like, you know, you can dye this. I was like, I love the fact that it's just the white with the gold sparkle through it. That's a good time. And yeah, was just immediately drawn. So I went to this. They also had a silver stellina, but the gold had my heart. So I was like, I'm very excited about that. Very excited. On the first night of the opening ceremonies, they did a door prize draw. And guess what? You won't even guess. You can't even guess. I won. I won the first door prize draw. My name was called, and I won exactly what I bought. What? What are the chances? And the fact that he had gold and silver, this is another gold one. Are you kidding me? So yes, I bought one, happily would buy it again. Now I had another one. She's gonna be a big spin. So jazzed. So it's 100 grams each. So technically 200 grams of merino superwash and stellina from Piper's Knits. What? It's insane. It's insane. I'm so excited. Still on a high from the seminar. Okay, I think that's it. I did spin this as well. This was it was one of the workshop yarns in Barbara and Donna's class. And yeah, that's it. I don't know. My friend had plied it together for me, plied it together, I think, and did it into a little ball. And yeah, it's just like a cute little practice, very rustic yarn. I don't even know what it is, but it's itchy, and that's fine. All right, spinning journey. Pairs well with knitting, pairs well with spinning. What doesn't? So we are heavily into the spinning train. I mean, this weekend was a definite kickoff point. Here's my takeaways. For me, I feel as a teacher and a learner, I'm still learning all the time. In-person learning and teaching is essential for me and the person I am. I know, that combination of the verbal, the written instruction, the kinesthetic, and the practice, yes, that is what for me works. But it's that in-person connection that I have when I'm with someone or someone's where I'm learning a new thing or I'm teaching a new thing. It's a synergy coming out. It's a collaboration. It's everything. Could I have learned the spinning techniques, tips, and tricks from YouTube? Yes, I started doing that. That is how I started my knitting journey. But being in person, I think, escalates that learning a million times, and it makes the experience for me so much more pleasurable. Never mind taking away from another human and borrowing those things from them to apply for myself, but then feeling success that those things that they have shared worked. I don't even have words. I think the fact that I was able to attend seminar like this and take away what I did and have these people, these experts that care, that have a passion, that share their passion and have patience to explain and to work with. Amazing. Again, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be a part of this community. Let me know about your spinning journey. What are you spinning? Are you a spinner? Did this inspire you to spin? If you're here, you're probably pretty keen or have spun before or classify yourself as a spinner. So thank you for allowing me into your club. I feel very lucky. I will finish off, I think, because I could keep going, but I will be done. We'll pump the brakes. And I will say thank you for coming out today. Thank you for listening to me ramble on about my beginning spinning. And if you enjoyed this very, babbly episode, like and subscribe if you are willing to the channel. Yes, it's a very knitting heavy channel with some travel in there as well. But maybe we'll become a little more mixy mix. I don't know. We'll see. I think it's going to be a really happy grouping and collab of making, of knitting and spinning. I wish you the very best of your making adventure, whatever it may be. Maybe it's knitting, maybe it's spinning. So very much wishing you great joy in that. And until next time, take care.